In the dim glow of my computer screen, I found myself scrolling through pages of bizarre listings on the dark web. It was late at night, and the world outside my window had faded into a quiet hum. I had always been drawn to the thrill of the unknown, but this was different. This was a rabbit hole I had never dared to explore until now. The allure of a mystery box caught my eye. The listing was simple yet enticing. Unlock your secrets mystery box from the dark web. Beneath it, a series of testimonials from anonymous buyers claimed that these boxes contained items that revealed personal truths about their lives. Some said they found long-lost items, while others received chilling messages from their pasts. My heart raced at the thought. What could it reveal about me? As I sat there, my mind raced with possibilities. I had secrets everyone did. Some were trivial, like my obsession with collecting vintage comic books. Others were darker, buried memories I had tried to forget. Would this box bring them to light? Or would it expose something even more sinister? With trembling fingers, I clicked on the link. The seller's profile was shrouded in anonymity, and payment was accepted only in cryptocurrency. After a moment's hesitation, I transferred a small sum of Bitcoin, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. The transaction confirmed my purchase, and I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding. What had I just done? Days passed with no word from the seller until one evening. A nondescript package arrived at my doorstep. It was small and unmarked, wrapped in plain brown paper that gave away no hints about its contents. My pulse quickened as I brought it inside, closing the door behind me as if sealing away any prying eyes. I placed the box on my kitchen table and stared at it for a moment, contemplating what lay within. The anticipation was almost unbearable. With a deep breath, I grabbed a pair of scissors and carefully sliced through the tape. As I peeled back the layers of wrapping, a sense of dread washed over me. Inside was a small wooden box adorned with intricate carvings that seemed to shift in the light. It felt strangely warm to the touch, almost alive. There was no indication of how old it was or where it had come from, just an overwhelming sense that it held something significant. I opened the lid slowly, half expecting something to leap out at me. Instead, there were several items nestled inside: an old photograph, a rusted key, and a small envelope sealed with crimson wax. Curiosity piqued, I picked up the photograph first. It depicted a group of people standing in front of an old house, my childhood home. My heart sank as I recognized faces from my past friends who had drifted away and family members who had long since passed on. But there was one face that sent chills down my spine. It was mine, standing in front of that house as a child, smiling innocently. Next came the key, a heavy iron object that felt cold against my palm. It was unlike any key I had ever seen, ornate and aged. It seemed to whisper secrets of its own. What did it unlock? My mind raced with possibilities. Finally, I turned my attention to the envelope. The wax seal cracked easily under pressure, and inside lay a single piece of paper with elegant handwriting scrawled across it. You cannot hide from what you are meant to remember. A shiver ran down my spine as those words echoed in my mind. What did this mean? Was this some kind of sick joke? Or was it truly connected to my secrets? As I sat there in silence, surrounded by these relics from my past, an unsettling feeling settled over me like a heavy fog. It felt as though someone or something was watching me from beyond the veil of reality. Suddenly, my phone buzzed on the table beside me. Startled, I glanced at the screen. There was a message from an unknown number. I see you've opened the box. You shouldn't have done that. My heart raced as panic surged through me. Who was this? How did they know? I quickly glanced around my apartment, as if expecting someone to leap out from behind the curtains or emerge from the shadows cast by my flickering lights. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. Every creak of wood or rustle outside sent adrenaline coursing through my veins. Desperate for answers and overwhelmed by fear, I typed back frantically. Who is this? What do you want? But before I could hit send, another message appeared. You'll find out soon enough. The weight of dread settled heavily on my chest as reality began to sink in. I had opened Pandora's box and unleashed something far more terrifying than mere secrets. This first segment establishes an intriguing premise while building suspense and inviting viewers into your horror stories world. If you need further segments or adjustments, feel free to ask. My heart raced as I stared at my phone, the screen glowing ominously in the dim light of my kitchen. The message felt like a cold hand gripping my throat, tightening with every passing second. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Who was this person? How did they know I had opened the box? I glanced back at the wooden box on the table, its carvings seeming to shimmer with an unsettling life of their own. The photograph, key, and envelope lay before me like pieces of a puzzle I was terrified to complete. I needed to make sense of it all, but dread gnawed at my insides. Ignoring the message for now, I focused on the photograph again. I picked it up and studied it closely. The house in the background was unmistakably my childhood home, a place filled with both cherished memories and haunting echoes of the past. I could almost hear laughter from long ago mingling with whispers of sorrow. As I turned the photo over, something fell from between its layers, a small piece of paper, yellowed with age and frayed at the edges. It was a note, hastily written in pencil. "Find me where we used to play." The words sent a jolt through me. Where we used to play? My mind raced back to my childhood. My friends and I spent countless afternoons in a small clearing in the woods behind our house. It had been our sanctuary, a place filled with imagination and laughter before life took us in different directions. A sense of urgency washed over me. Was this some kind of clue, or was it a trap? I felt an inexplicable pull toward that clearing, as if something deep within me yearned to uncover whatever secrets lay buried there. Before I could second-guess myself, I grabbed my jacket and slipped on my shoes. The night air was cool against my skin as I stepped outside, but adrenaline coursed through my veins, keeping me warm. The moon hung high in the sky, casting eerie shadows that danced along the ground as I made my way toward the woods. The path was familiar, yet foreign memories flooded back with each step: the laughter of friends, the thrill of adventure. But now it felt different. A weight hung in the air, thickening with every breath I took. As I approached the clearing, a sense of foreboding settled over me. The trees loomed like silent sentinels, their branches swaying gently in the breeze, as if whispering secrets among themselves. When I finally reached the clearing, it appeared unchanged, just as I remembered it from years ago. But something felt off. I scanned the area for anything unusual, but saw only shadows dancing under the moonlight. Then something caught my eye, a glint among the leaves near an old oak tree at the edge of the clearing. My heart raced as I approached it cautiously. There, half buried in dirt and debris, was an old tin box similar to the one I had just received from the dark web. Its surface was rusted and covered in grime, yet it radiated an undeniable aura that made me shiver. With trembling hands, I knelt down and began to dig it out. As soon as it was free from its earthy prison, I noticed something engraved on its lid: "The past never forgets." A chill ran down my spine as memories flooded back, memories that were both beautiful and painful. With a deep breath, I pried open the lid. Inside were more photographs, images of moments from my childhood that I had long forgotten: birthday parties, family gatherings, and school events filled with laughter and joy. But then there were darker images, pictures taken without my knowledge, moments when I thought I was alone but wasn't, moments that revealed secrets buried deep within my mind. I flipped through them frantically until one particular photograph stopped me cold. It showed me standing alone outside my childhood home at dusk, looking lost and forlorn. In that image stood a shadowy figure behind me, someone watching silently from a distance. Panic surged through me as realization struck. This wasn't just nostalgia, it was surveillance. Someone had been watching me for years. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again in my pocket, breaking through my spiraling thoughts. Heart racing, I pulled it out to see another message. "You're getting closer. But are you ready for what you'll find?" I felt sickened by fear and anger combined. Who was this person tormenting me? What did they want? My thoughts raced as I realized that this wasn't just about secrets anymore. It felt personal. Just then, a rustling sound interrupted my thoughts. My head snapped up toward the tree line surrounding the clearing. Shadows shifted among the branches, as if something or someone was lurking just beyond sight. "Hello," my voice trembled in the stillness of night. Silence answered back. I stood frozen for what felt like an eternity before instinct kicked in. I needed to leave this place before whatever was out there decided to make itself known. Clutching both boxes tightly under my arms, I turned to run back home. But as I sprinted through the woods, branches snagged at my clothes like fingers trying to hold me back. Every rustle made my heart race faster. Every shadow seemed to reach for me with claw-like hands. Finally bursting into open space again, I stumbled onto familiar ground. The path leading back to my house felt like a lifeline pulling me away from whatever darkness lurked behind me. Once inside, I slammed the door shut and locked it tight behind me. Breathing heavily, I leaned against it for support and glanced around at my surroundings. The safety of home now felt like a fragile illusion. I dropped both boxes onto the table and fought against rising panic. What had just happened? What had those photographs meant? And who was watching me? Just then, another message chimed on my phone. You can't hide forever. I stared at those words in horror as realization dawned upon me. This wasn't just about uncovering secrets anymore, it was about survival. This second segment deepens the mystery while escalating tension and fear for your protagonist. If you need further segments or adjustments, feel free to ask. I stood in my kitchen, heart pounding, staring at my phone as if it were a venomous snake ready to strike. The message lingered in my mind, echoing like a sinister chant, you can't hide forever. I felt trapped in a web of fear, each strand tightening around me with every thought of the unseen watcher lurking just beyond my door. I needed answers. I needed to understand what was happening to me. The photographs from the tin box weighed heavily on my mind, each image a reminder of moments I had thought were private. Who had taken them? And why? Why? I grabbed the wooden box from the table and opened it again, desperate for clarity. The photograph of my childhood home stared back at me, and I picked it up once more. The faces of friends and family seemed to mock me, their smiles frozen in time while I felt anything but joy. The rusted key lay beside it, heavy with unspoken promises. What did it unlock? Suddenly, a thought struck me. Perhaps the key was meant for the old tin box I had unearthed in the woods. It made sense. If there was a connection between these items, then surely the key would fit. With newfound determination, I rushed to retrieve the tin box from where I had left it on the kitchen counter. My hands trembled as I held it up to the light, inspecting every inch for a lock. There had to be something, a hidden compartment, or a latch that would reveal more secrets. As I turned it over in my hands, I noticed a small indentation on one side that looked like it could be a lock. My heart raced as I inserted the key from the wooden box into this indentation. It slid in smoothly but didn't turn. Frustration bubbled within me. Was this all just a cruel game? I decided to take a break and clear my head. Maybe some fresh air would help ease the tension coiling in my stomach. I stepped outside onto my porch, breathing deeply as I tried to calm my racing thoughts. The night was still, but an unsettling energy hung in the air, an awareness that something was watching me. Suddenly, my phone buzzed again, jolting me from my thoughts. This time it was an unknown number calling. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello, my voice wavered slightly. You're getting closer. Aren't you? The voice on the other end was distorted and cold, sending chills down my spine. Who are you? What do you want from me? I demanded, trying to sound braver than I felt. You know what you need to do. Find out what happened at that clearing. Before it's too late. The line went dead before I could respond. Panic surged through me. Who was this person? What did they know? I stood frozen on my porch, grappling with fear and confusion. There was no way I could go back to that clearing, not after what had happened last time. But deep down, I knew I had no choice if there were answers to be found. They lay buried in that haunted place. After pacing back and forth for several minutes, I reluctantly decided to return to the clearing at dawn when there would be light. If there were any secrets waiting for me there, I needed to face them head on. The hours dragged painfully as night wore on. Sleep eluded me completely. Every creak of the house sounded amplified in the silence. Every shadow felt alive with menace. Finally, just before dawn broke over the horizon, exhaustion took hold of me and pulled me into a restless sleep filled with fragmented dreams of dark figures and whispered secrets. When morning finally arrived, pale light filtered through my curtains like fingers reaching out to pull me from sleep's grasp. With shaky resolve, I prepared for what lay ahead, dressing quickly and gathering both boxes before stepping outside into the cool morning air. The walk back to the clearing felt surreal. Sunlight streamed through branches overhead like golden threads weaving through darkness. But as I approached the familiar path leading into the woods, unease settled over me once more. The clearing appeared unchanged, a serene oasis amidst towering trees, but now it felt tainted by knowledge of what had transpired here before. As I stepped into its open space, memories flooded back, laughter echoing through trees and innocent games played beneath their watchful branches. But today was different. I set both boxes down on the ground and took a deep breath before kneeling beside the old tin box again. With trembling hands, I examined it closely for any signs of hidden compartments or locks, anything that might lead me deeper into this twisted mystery. As I searched frantically through dirt and leaves around it for clues or anything unusual that might help unlock its secrets, something caught my eye, a glint beneath some fallen leaves nearby. Curiosity piqued, I brushed aside debris, until revealing yet another photograph, this one depicting an empty swing set at dusk surrounded by trees eerily similar to those surrounding me now. Flipping it over revealed another note. "Remember our promise? We'll always come back here." My heart raced as memories flooded back my childhood friends and our secret pact never to forget our adventures together in this very spot. But now those memories felt tainted by an unseen darkness lurking just beyond reach. Suddenly feeling overwhelmed by emotion, the weight of nostalgia mingling with dread, I stood up abruptly and turned toward where we used to play games among laughter-filled afternoons long gone. Only now those echoes felt hollow against an oppressive silence. Then came a sound, a rustling from behind one of the trees bordering this clearing pulled me from reverie. Instantly adrenaline surged through my veins. As instinct kicked in, I wasn't alone anymore. "Who's there?" My voice trembled but held firm against fear creeping back into focus once more. Silence answered back again before footsteps echoed softly across fallen leaves nearby. A figure emerged slowly from behind thick trunks ahead. It was a woman, her features obscured by shadows cast across her face, but unmistakably familiar somehow. "You shouldn't have come back here," she said softly yet firmly, her voice hauntingly reminiscent of someone long lost but never forgotten. My breath caught in my throat as recognition hit hard like a punch. She looked just like Sarah, my childhood best friend who disappeared without explanation years ago. "Sarah," my voice barely escaped past trembling lips as disbelief washed over me like cold water splashing against skin. But instead of answering directly, she simply shook her head slowly while stepping closer until finally emerging fully into view under sunlight filtering through branches above us. "You need to remember everything," she urged gently yet insistently, her eyes pleading with intensity that sent chills racing down spine. "Everything." About what? Confusion clouded thoughts swirling around rapidly now. "About us. About what happened here. You can't escape your past forever." Panic surged again as realization dawned upon me. Whatever darkness lingered within these woods wasn't just about secrets, it was also about lost connections waiting patiently for recognition. And suddenly all pieces began falling into place. The photographs taken without consent weren't simply reminders, they were warnings meant for someone who had forgotten too much. "Please, you must listen. There's still time. We can fix this," Sarah urged desperately while reaching out toward me. But before she could touch me fully, I felt something shift behind her, a shadow moving swiftly across ground beneath trees surrounding us both. Instinctively stepping backward, instinctively away from encroaching darkness creeping closer, I yelled out desperately, "No. Stay away." But shadows continued advancing forward relentlessly until engulfing everything around us, the clearing fading away into nothingness as screams echoed through air, growing louder with each passing moment. And then silence fell once more. This third segment deepens the mystery while introducing new elements and escalating tension for your protagonist. If you need further segments or adjustments, feel free to ask. The world around me dissolved into a swirling void, shadows closing in like a suffocating blanket. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread as I stumbled backward, trying to escape the encroaching darkness. Sarah's figure flickered in and out of view, her eyes wide with urgency, but I couldn't reach her. "You have to remember," she shouted, her voice echoing through the void. "You can't let it take you." I was trapped in a nightmare, suspended between reality and some twisted version of my past. Panic surged through me as I fought against the darkness, clawing at the air as if I could grasp hold of something solid. But there was nothing, only shadows that whispered my name and taunted me with secrets long buried. "Wake up," I screamed, my voice reverberating in the emptiness. "What do you want from me?" But the shadows only laughed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down my spine. They closed in tighter, wrapping around me like tendrils of despair until I felt myself being pulled into their depths. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, everything went black. Awakening. I gasped for breath as I jolted awake, heart racing and drenched in sweat. The clearing was gone instead. I found myself back in my kitchen, sprawled on the floor beside the wooden box. The morning light streamed through the window, illuminating the chaos around me, papers scattered everywhere, both boxes lying open and empty. What had just happened? Was it a dream, or had I truly been transported somewhere else? I scrambled to my feet, disoriented and shaken. The photographs were gone. All that remained were fragments of memories swirling in my mind like ghosts refusing to fade away. But one thing was clear, I needed to confront whatever darkness lingered within me. I took a deep breath and focused on Sarah's last words. You have to remember. What did that mean? What was I supposed to remember? And the key to the past. My gaze fell upon the rusted key resting on the table. It seemed to pulse with energy, beckoning me to uncover its secrets. Maybe it wasn't just about unlocking physical doors, perhaps it held the key to unlocking memories long buried. With newfound determination, I grabbed the key and headed back outside. The sun was high now, casting bright light over everything but failing to chase away the shadows lurking in my mind. I made my way back toward the woods, feeling an inexplicable pull toward that clearing once more. As I entered the forest, sunlight filtered through leaves overhead like golden spears piercing through darkness. Each step felt heavy with anticipation. I was stepping into a realm where reality blurred with memory. When I reached the clearing again, it looked untouched by time, a serene sanctuary amidst towering trees. But now it felt charged with energy, as if waiting for something or someone to awaken it. I knelt down where I had found the old tin box and began digging through leaves and dirt once more. My fingers brushed against something solid beneath layers of earth, a small wooden chest that felt familiar somehow. With trembling hands, I unearthed it and brushed off dirt until revealing intricate carvings along its surface similar to those on the box from the dark web. My heart raced as I realized this could be another piece of my past waiting to be unlocked. The revelation. With great care, I opened the chest and gasped at what lay inside. More photographs, this time depicting moments from my childhood that were both joyful and painful. There were images of birthdays celebrated with laughter and friends gathered around a cake, but also pictures capturing darker moments, arguments with family members, and tears shed alone at night. And then there were images of Sarah, her smile brightening every frame until they turned into snapshots of her disappearance, the last moments captured before she vanished without a trace. A note lay folded at the bottom of the chest. My hands shook as I unfolded it. We promised we'd always come back here together, but you forgot. You left us behind. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. Memories flooded back, Sarah's laughter echoing through these woods during our childhood adventures, promises made under starlit skies that we would never forget each other, no matter what life threw our way. But then came memories of her disappearance, the frantic search parties, and unanswered questions that haunted me for years. Guilt washed over me like a tidal wave. Had I truly forgotten her? Had I moved on while she remained trapped in this place? The confrontation. Suddenly, a rustling sound broke through my thoughts. A figure emerged from behind a tree, just beyond the clearing's edge. My heart raced as recognition washed over me again. It was Sarah. You remembered, she exclaimed joyfully yet urgently as she stepped closer, her eyes shining with hope but tinged with sadness too. Sarah, my voice cracked with emotion as relief flooded through me. Where have you been? What happened? I'm still here. But you need to understand what happened that day we promised each other. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke, her expression shifting from joy to concern. Tell me, I pleaded desperately. Every instinct urged me forward toward her, toward understanding everything that had been hidden away for so long. It wasn't just us playing here. There was something else lurking in these woods, a darkness that fed off our fears and insecurities. We thought we could escape it by promising each other we'd always return. But when you left without looking back, it took me. Her words struck deep within me, a painful truth surfacing from shadows long buried beneath layers of denial. I've been trapped here ever since, waiting for you to remember so we could break free together. But time is running out. You have to confront what you've buried deep inside. Only then can we escape this place. Facing my fears. A surge of determination coursed through me. If confronting my past meant freeing Sarah from whatever darkness held her captive, I would do it without hesitation. What do I need to face? What do I need to remember? Everything, the pain you've hidden away. Your fears about losing everyone you love. Your guilt for moving on without acknowledging what happened here. As she spoke those words, memories flooded back, unbidden moments of loss and regret intertwined with laughter shared among friends now lost forever. And then came visions of fear, the fear that had haunted me since childhood, fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear that had kept me from truly living. You have to let go. Embrace those feelings instead of running from them. Only then can we break free together. With every word spoken by Sarah resonating within my soul, I closed my eyes tightly against tears threatening to spill forth, allowing emotions long buried finally rise up like waves crashing against shores. In that moment, I understood this wasn't just about confronting darkness, it was about embracing light too, the light forged through connections made, despite struggles faced along life's journey. Breaking free. With newfound clarity coursing through me, I opened my eyes again, meeting Sarah's gaze, filled with hope yet urgency still lingering behind those beautiful eyes. "I'm ready. Let's do this together." As those words left my lips, a brilliant light enveloped us both, illuminating everything around us until shadows receded into nothingness. And suddenly we were standing side by side once more under bright blue skies, filled with warmth radiating down upon us both. The weight lifted off our shoulders, the chains binding us broken forevermore. Together we stepped forward hand in hand toward brighter tomorrows awaiting ahead, leaving behind darkness once consumed by fears long held captive within. This fourth segment escalates tension while bringing resolution and deeper understanding for your protagonist's journey. If you need further segments or adjustments, feel free to ask. As the brilliant light enveloped us, I felt an overwhelming sense of warmth and clarity wash over me. The shadows that had once loomed so large in my life began to dissipate, revealing the vibrant colors of the world around us. I turned to Sarah, her face illuminated by the glow, and for the first time in years I felt a sense of peace. "We did it," I exclaimed, unable to contain my joy. "We're free." "Not yet, but we're close," she replied, her voice steady yet filled with urgency. "There's still one last thing we need to do. We have to confront the darkness that has kept us trapped here. Only then can we truly be free." I nodded, determination flooding my veins. I could feel the remnants of fear still lingering in the corners of my mind, but they felt smaller now, less imposing. Together we stepped forward into the clearing where our childhood memories had once flourished. The final confrontation. The air around us shimmered with energy as we approached the center of the clearing. It was as if the very ground beneath our feet pulsed with life, urging us onward. But even amidst this newfound light, I could sense an undercurrent of darkness lurking just beyond our reach. "What do we do?" I asked, glancing around as if expecting something to leap out at us. "We face it together," Sarah said firmly. "We acknowledge it and refuse to let it control us any longer. Remember all those times you felt lost or afraid. Those feelings are part of you, but they don't define you. You have to embrace them." Taking a deep breath, I closed my eyes and let memories flood my mind, moments of joy intertwined with pain, laughter shared with friends, tears shed in solitude, dreams chased and abandoned. Each memory was a thread woven into the fabric of who I was. "I'm not afraid anymore," I shouted into the stillness of the clearing. "I refuse to let fear dictate my life." As those words echoed through the trees, a shadowy figure began to materialize before us, a dark silhouette that seemed to absorb all light around it. It loomed large and menacing, its form shifting like smoke in the wind. "You think you can escape me?" it hissed, voice dripping with malice. "I am your fears, your regrets, everything you've tried to bury. You cannot run from me." But as I stood there beside Sarah, something shifted within me. Instead of recoiling in terror, I felt a surge of defiance rise up from deep within my core. "You don't own me. You're just a part of my past, a past that I've learned from," I declared boldly, embracing the darkness. The shadow paused for a moment, as if taken aback by my words. Sarah stepped forward beside me, her presence grounding me as we faced this manifestation together. "You're right. We won't let you control us any longer. We accept you as part of our journey, but refuse to let you dictate our future," she added fiercely. With each word spoken between us, the shadow began to tremble, its form flickering like a candle caught in a gust of wind. "No, you cannot do this. You need me. Without me, you are nothing," it roared defiantly. But instead of fear, I felt compassion for this dark entity. It was born from pain and sorrow, just like I had been. It was a reflection of everything I had tried to suppress for so long. "You were born from my fears, but you don't define who I am. I choose hope over despair, love over hate, life over death. And that's where your power ends." As those words left my lips, a brilliant light erupted from within me, radiating outward, until engulfing both Sarah and myself completely. The darkness shrieked in fury as it began to dissolve into wisps of smoke before evaporating into thin air. A new dawn. When the light finally faded away, I opened my eyes once more, finding myself standing in an empty clearing bathed in sunlight. Everything felt different now, lighter somehow, as if burdens long carried had finally been lifted off shoulders once weighed down by grief. Sarah stood beside me, her smile radiant against bright blue skies overhead. Her presence felt like home after years spent wandering lost without direction. "We did it. We faced it together," she exclaimed joyfully, her laughter ringing through air like music echoing across vast landscapes filled with possibility ahead. "Thank you for helping me remember, for reminding me what really matters, our connections with each other. Always remember that love conquers all, even darkness can't withstand its light when faced head-on together. Now go live your life fully, you deserve happiness after everything you've endured." With those words echoing in heart, I knew she was right. No longer would fear hold sway over me. I would embrace every moment ahead without hesitation. Returning home. As we walked back toward my childhood home, the sun shining brightly overhead, I felt an overwhelming sense of freedom wash over me. Every step forward felt like reclaiming pieces lost a long way. When we reached my front door, I paused for a moment, glancing back toward woods filled with memories, both painful yet beautiful too. They had shaped who I was today, but now they would no longer haunt me. They would simply be part of story told moving forward. I turned back toward Sarah, her expression filled with warmth and understanding, and before saying goodbye, I pulled her into an embrace filled with gratitude. She had been my anchor through stormiest seas. "Until we meet again," she whispered softly against ear before stepping back, slowly fading away into sunlight surrounding us both. And as she disappeared, I knew deep down this wasn't goodbye forever. It was merely another chapter closing while new adventures awaited ahead. Embracing life. With renewed purpose coursing through veins, I stepped inside my home, feeling lighter than air. Every corner held echoes from past, but now they felt like whispers encouraging growth rather than chains binding down. I picked up my phone, seeing messages waiting patiently on screen, friends reaching out, wanting connection again after years spent apart. With determination fueling spirit, I began typing responses filled with excitement about reconnecting while sharing stories from journey traveled thus far. No longer would secrets linger unspoken or shadows loom large over choices made. Instead, they would be embraced openly, allowing vulnerability shine brightly like stars illuminating night sky above. And as laughter echoed through walls once more, I knew one thing for certain: life was meant to be lived fully, not just survived but cherished, every moment shared along way. This final segment brings resolution and closure while celebrating themes of connection and personal growth. If there are any adjustments or additional elements you'd like included in your story, feel free to ask.